Hello, everybody. Welcome into another edition of HeadCoachU. I am Bryan Fischer, joined as always by Bronco Mendenhall, former BYU and Virginia head coach. And Bronco, I know we always say that we got some special guests. I always love when we can double up the number of Texans here on the podcast. For the welcome, the head coach there at USC, Lincoln Riley. Lincoln, thank you so much for stopping by.
Absolutely, great to connect with you guys. Really appreciate you having me.
Absolutely. Well, one of the reasons we wanted to have you on, not just because you guys are having a ton of success down there in LA, but, it caught my eye a couple of weeks ago, kind of before the season started. You had your staff, took them out and got a health check. I know that was a special personally, a big thing for you. Could you maybe fill in everybody, especially a lot of the coaches that are listening in, to what exactly happened and what the impetus was?
Yeah. It started, one of our coaches when we first got here at USC and a long time, very dear friend, Dave Nichol, ended up getting diagnosed with cancer pretty early on in our tenure here, and unfortunately passed away a couple of months later. And we were thinking about, kind of in the aftermath of that, we're thinking about, one, how could we, honor Dave and his legacy, and two, I think as a head coach, and Coach Mendenhall knows this as well as anybody, you're constantly thinking about, like, how can I take care of my people? How whether it's the players, the staff, like, what can I do to better serve them? And the idea was born of one, could there have been something in place to potentially catch it? Maybe get a head start on some of these things that seem to sneak up on us in life. And then we thought, obviously, naming it in Dave's memory and hopefully starting some trends across the country where this happened more would potentially be a great thing. And it was near and dear to our heart. I mean, you had with Dave, obviously, you had Coach Leach, in his situation, passing away right here down the road at UCLA. A good friend of ours, Billy McGovern, same thing. And so, it just kind of been on our mind, and it kind of started as a thought, and we started piecing together how it would work, and we were able to do the, first annual, Dave Nichol health check here for our coaching staff when we came back off of vacation before fall camp. And we were lucky. USC and everybody here was great to work with, and they helped organize it. They brought all the different doctors and all the different specialists, everyone over at our facility, did kind of a round of testing with every staff member that wanted to opt in, which I think just about every single coaching staff member did it, and then scheduled a lot of follow-up opportunities with all the different specialists after the case. And we're going to make that a yearly deal here. We as coaches, a lot of times, we get so locked in on our job and then our families and all the other things going on that we sometimes put our health on the back burner. And and that's something as head coaches, I feel like it's our responsibility to say, where can we do better, and where can we create an opportunity where there's not that built-in excuse that we would all find to not do it. And I think it was successful. I think it's was meant a lot to the people here, not just for the action, but obviously who it was named after and kind of the memories of our good friends that aren't here anymore.
I think so many in the coaching profession, especially because of the pressure, because of the visibility, really your personal needs are put on the back burner, and there's this mentality of sacrifice, right? You're giving up things for the betterment of. And I really like the idea of a structured and a process that makes it easy to do hard things, because quite frankly, the coaches, unless you've scheduled that time and made it easy for them, and if anything else, encouraged, they're probably not going to do it. And I think, as you already know, right now, especially in season, the chance then that continues, right, unless there's a bye week opportunity or unless there's something else that you, as you already know, the head coach is responsible for everybody. And unless you double down on that, it could easily only be annual, which is way better than not having it, right? Yes. Way better.
Yes.
I think the challenge will be to compound that to maybe it's quarterly, and how within the structure, because I think you're onto something that's number one, is necessary, number two, beneficial, and number three, will help your organization over the long term of keeping the right people with you, but also benefiting their families and your players.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the first point you made, we're our own worst enemy as coaches. Yes. Sometimes the competitive nature in you is, you feel, I don't know, it's not an ego thing, but it's knowing that you did everything you can for the team and for your guys. And, if you sleep at the office one night or you put in 20 hours in a day on this, you feel like, all right, I did everything I could, and that's not, obviously that's not always conducive to good health, and it's not always accurate, right? I mean, I think it's trying to find some balance for all of us, and I think it's like anything, as the head coach, what you emphasize is going to become a priority in the organization. What any leader does, like, that's going to become the priority. And so if by doing this, not only it's just the one time a year, a couple of times a year it happens, but does it set an expectation throughout the department that, take care of yourself? It is important.
Well, and the time, energy, and effort that you'll have to, because they'll see the modeling and they'll see if the sincerity and the stickiness of this initiative is really driven by you. Besides the launch, right? They'll watch and see, as everyone does.
Yes.
And as you know, right, man, your next game is coming, and the next opponent is coming, and the next everything else that's coming. And so I think, man, as a leader, if you can pull that off and masterfully do that, the benefit and possibly the precedent, because of the visibility you have at USC, that could end up gaining traction on a broader scope across the country, which now you're talking about, I think, really doing something valuable besides just really caring for your people. Someone will be saying, wait, if USC can do that with all their pressure, then we certainly could do that. And that captures my attention.
For sure. Yeah, that's the hope, and that get to honor some great people's memory along the way, and hopefully create change and make everybody better.
Yeah. As you balance those kind of initiatives, and now you're in season, and then you're thinking about your family, and then you're thinking, so I would love to know maybe how you prioritize, and I already know what the season looks like, and for our listeners, they probably try to understand what the season looks like, but how do you make sense of it all in terms of any semblance of a balance, knowing it won't ever be quantitative, but it could be quality? And I'm anxious just to hear your take on how you make it work.
Well, I think the first thing is in the off season, I try to really build like myself up as much as I can, because there's going to be an element of build it up and then break it down. And so I've tried to do a good job of just being as health conscious as I can be in the off season as much as possible. Try to the things I can control, try to eat healthy, try to get regular sleep, try to work out. And I do a pretty good job of that in the off season. The season's a little bit of a different story. We've pushed hard here on the nutritional side of it for the staff. Like, so often, like you get in there on a Monday night and you're watching film and you get pizza, or or everybody's in the room dipping, or you're eating whatever you can get your hands on. So we've really tried to, within the things we can control, try to make it easier for things to be like healthy, like healthy options for the guys. Because I think that's the one thing. Like, yeah, you're probably not going to work out as much maybe in season as out of season. You don't have that much time, but you can always eat healthy. Like, you can always do that. And I think, but part of the deal in college football is it's not like guys are breaking off for an hour lunch break, right? So like making those healthy choices available for the entire staff where it's easy. I think has been one big thing for us. We certainly had to adapt a little bit here because coaching in Los Angeles, is a little bit different than doing it in your normal, like, kind of small town college atmospheres. And so as far as like kind of, talking like our commute in, all that, this second year, we've, I think, found a schedule that has a little bit less extremes. And I think we've improved that, so the guys are still, getting to see their families. They're still getting to get, a decent night's sleep. And hopefully able to kind of maintain pace a little bit more all the way through it. And then I say personally for me, it's I think I've really had to learn to find ways to be as efficient with my time as possible, and I've just basically got it down to, I'm either sleeping, working, or I'm with my family. And there's nothing
exactly.
There's there's also not much wasted time either. I've got now where I can work on my commute both in and out. So I mean that's not, instead of having to stay at the office, 40 minutes later to get work done, I do the last 40 minutes of work on the way in and the first 40 minutes of work, back up here to LA in the morning. So I've tried to just be the efficiency and like, what are the things I have to do? And then where are the areas that, I'm not just guarding my desk, or we're not like overdoing something, where I can be more efficient with my time. So, I mean, I think those have been, I certainly haven't mastered it. I feel like I've gotten a little better through the years with it. And certainly feel more settled in the second time around here at SC.
I love listening to the customization or the adaptation that you've put in place, as USC is different than, right, Oklahoma, which was different than maybe East Carolina, which is different than each place, right? There's a period of discovery where if you really pay attention, then the adaptation can happen, where the efficiency, and you can leverage that to hopefully make it to differentiate, to even make it more special for the coaches and the players, and got to kind of highlight each spot. And so it sounds like year two, you're on a good path to at least not only discovering, but then implementing some processes that are making a difference for you.
Yeah, you've done it, Coach. I mean, that second year you just so much that you didn't even know that you didn't know the first year, right? And sure. I think that's kind of the fun parts of feeling like you're really starting to optimize like everybody's experience here.
Yeah. So as you consider now the second year and already starting into it, and you can feel the momentum generating, which it's easy to see even from where I sit. As you think about challenges or things that are coming across your desk as the head coach based on this stage of the program, what kind of things are manifesting as to, man, okay, now we're taking on this because we're a little bit farther along, or whatever the stage of growth you're in? What kind of things or friction points are you encountering?
Yeah,
or opportunities?
Yeah, you said it well. I mean, like we've tried to make a point to ourselves, the staff, the team here in the second year is like, just because you're in year two doesn't mean that challenges go away. Like if these challenges go away, then these challenges are coming. Like there's always, the constant's going to be, there is a challenge no matter what situation you're in, year one, year two, year 10, like the challenges always come with it. I think our challenges in a lot of ways are different than 12 months ago. Our roster is a little deeper, a little more talented than we were 12 months ago. There's a lot less new, certainly here. I think our challenges a little bit now are, once you've had a little bit of perceived success, there's the outside. The outside narrative is much different, and I think and expectations, and I think even the expectations within the walls are different, and so that can be a good thing. But as you know, it can also be debilitating too if you allow it to be. And so I think our mindset there is certainly much different. I also think, I mean, when you get a deeper roster, the natural challenges are only 11 guys are going to be on the field.
Exactly.
And I mean, that's last year was a little bit easier in a lot of instances because it was pretty clear who was going to play and who wasn't. So you had less of maybe having to deal with all the different guys and who's playing and all, where each guy's at mentally, because it was a little more clear cut. Now it's, for good reason, it's less clear cut, but now you get the challenges on the other end of it. So yeah, I think those are a few of the things right now that we're dealing with. And then I think too, just trying to stay focused just right now on just what's right in front of us right now. Because with all that's going on, we're getting ready to go to the Big Ten next year. All the scheduling differences, all the different stuff that's changing right now. There's a lot out there, and we got to do a great job ourselves as coaches and helping our players learn to really keep their eye on the ball right now. And it's we're getting stressed in some unique ways there. We got to handle it well. That'll be really key for us.
There's so much in what you just said, and I'm just flashing back and resonating and kind of putting myself in your shoes. And I know you have a tight schedule, so maybe we can kind of just finish with this thought. Going back to keeping everyone happy. I was given advice one time before I became a head coach. And this quote said, it's not possible. You can't make everyone happy, nor should it be your intent. And that was, the words resonated. Now applying that was much harder, because you really want everyone on your team to be fulfilled. You really want everyone on your team to be growing and developing and loving being on your team, and fulfilled in their role. And as you just mentioned, as you get better and as you get deeper, that's a challenge. And so I'm wondering, and the external noise, as you just mentioned, with the conference realignments and everything else, I'm wondering how frequently you address your team, or what are the best ways you're finding to keep your players motivated and driven and on point, but also managing the other things that are a ways out. So how often are you in front of your team? And is that your way to try to combat all that?
Yeah,
and what advice would you give any head coach that's trying to keep all that together?
I think first on the stuff that maybe is out there in the distance for us, we tried to really, when the season started, we addressed it all. We said, look, we're going to a new conference. This is, our last year in the Pac-12, maybe the last year of it, period. Like all right, we understand all those things. None of those things are going to have any bearing on what we do now. They can only hurt what we're doing right now if we give it attention. So it's there. Good. We got it. Like, we're not talking about it anymore. We're done with it. We're going to make the most of this. And I think using the motivation of, okay, well, if this is the last season, let's do everything in our power to make sure let's make it historic, right? Let's make it memorable, and seize the opportunity now and not worry about the opportunity later. The more challenging thing to me is obviously you got a lot of guys that want to play. You got a lot of guys that want to play significant snaps, and I think there's no easy way on that. I think the two things that we've really emphasized, that I think maybe have resonated the most are, I think, one, you got to be really honest in the beginning about laying out, this is what we are looking for, how we are going to evaluate it. And one of the things we've told our guys is, look, if the decision's 50-50 on if we play you or not, it's close between you and another guy. Like, we're human. Like, we're gonna be right 50% of the time and wrong 50% of the time. 50% of the time it's gonna go your way, and the other it's not. If you want to ensure you're gonna play, you got to make it, 90-10. You got to make it 80-20. We're not gonna mess those up very often. We're not that bad at our job. So it's been, and then I think really articulating, here are the things that we're going to evaluate when we make those decisions. We're laying it out for you. Here it is. You know the deal. And then at least in the end, if a guy doesn't play, he knows that we were direct and upfront with him from the very beginning about what it's going to take to play and how you're going to be evaluated. And I think I think also, having an open door policy where the guys can come in and talk about it. Like, we don't make it a habit of talking to, like, parents or people like that about playing time, but for a player that's in there competing that has a question about it or doesn't understand why, like, they absolutely deserve to know. This is their life. This is what they're working for. Yeah. And so, we try to be very open and try to do a good job of communicating with our guys about that. And then I think the other part that you have to emphasize that we've tried to is, listen, the more good players we have, the better chance we are going to have to win. And if we win, the team wins, everybody wins. I mean, it's you win big at a place like SC or a lot of these other great places out there, and what that can do for every single person involved with this program, whether they play, whether they coach, whether they're a trainer, anyone. I mean, you're talking about potentially, one, tremendous experiences, but also life-changing stuff for all the people involved. And so we've tried to, really kind of push that team aspect and make sure that we've got leaders out in front, that is the number one priority. So easier said than done, as you know, but that's been our path on trying to address it with our team.
Really well said. And one of the principles that I learned early on is frustration occurs when expectations are implicit, not explicit, meaning people just don't say it, and they don't say it clearly enough. And then the tone and the time they take to say it. And as you mentioned, sometimes it takes refreshers with players coming in and re-expressing that. And that usually limits the distortions that happen. It makes it more real. And they usually leave your office with something tangible to do about it.
Yes.
In relation to their direction. So it's just been fun to watch so far. Really appreciate your time and your early success in a really challenging and unique place. And so it's been fun to watch what's happening and how you're doing it. And just really appreciate you taking time to visit with us today.
No, absolutely. Honored to talk to you guys, Bronco. I think the world of you as a coach, as a young coach, one of the guys I watched and followed and tried to emulate a lot of the things that you've done. And so respect the heck out of you. And Brian, thanks for the time, man. Love what you guys are doing and happy to be a part of it anytime.
Well, it's been fantastic to have you on, Lincoln. Certainly the best of success moving forward there with the Trojans. I know the schedule is going to pick up here with conference play beginning in earnest for you guys, but thrilled to have you on and appreciate it so much for jumping on. For Bronco Mendenhall and for Lincoln Riley, I'm Bryan Fischer. This was HeadCoachU. We'll catch you again next week.